As I watched more and more nostalgia being flung at me, I came to quickly realize that the era of my game might be the initial hook, but if I rely on solely that, then it will fail. It's fun to dive back and look at the stuff that was once cool, but if this project's biggest takeaway is, haha, I remember starter jackets too, then I failed. Looking at it from a wider perspective, I realized that this game is me actively acknowledging a past that is long gone, but still has a root in the person I am. We can all say out loud that we aren't the people we once were, but when you lie awake at night and your brain decides to randomly shuffle back in a memory from a moment in your youth, you realize that the bricks are all still there, even if the moss is starting to overtake them. My wife has a tendency to go absolutely overboard when it comes to celebrating the birthdays of friends and family, and after a conversation with a friend of ours that didn't want anyone making a big deal about her birthday, my wife seemed a little down. She explained to me the reason she loves going all out for birthdays of people she cares about is a very simple one. She wants to let them know that she appreciates them existing. It's simple, but it's real, and it explains so much about how you're not just celebrating the person, but also the relationship itself. And it was her statement of why that made me realize the thesis of my own game, and what message would guide every choice going forward. Who you know matters more than what you do. At the beginning of the game, the main character has lost all of the things that once mattered and defined him. He gave up the band and girl he loved to pursue one passion, and when that was taken away, he was left with nothing. Even as adults, a sudden loss of a job that defined you can be just as emotionally devastating as it is financially devastating. If you were always an accountant or a chef and suddenly you couldn't do that anymore, that is a fundamental shift in the base of your identity. It's cliche to say that you shouldn't let your job define you, but if you're passionate about what you do, then that statement holds no water. Losing identity is something that some of the best stories I've seen in recent memory have in common. Whether it be Roy Kent moving on from playing football in Ted Lasso, or Ruben in Sound of Metal losing his ability to hear and therefore play music. The fear of losing who you are resides in all of us. Usually though, when you hear from a person who's retiring or moving on to a new career, the sentiment is usually, what I'll miss most is the people. And there it was. The people. In writing this game, I had to decide what each path meant. The hook of returning a tape to the video store tickles those 90s nostalgia feels, but it's merely a catalyst for each path's version of rebuilding a relationship. Whether it be a former girlfriend, an old band, or friends you left behind, every path has that message at its root. With that, the writing became so much easier, and since this is a point-and-click game, the story matters more than anything. The gameplay and visuals might not blow you out of the water, but if I can hook you with empathizing with the main character and his journey of rebuilding after losing not only his identity, but also his relationships, then I'll consider that a win. Thanks so much for watching this devlog on developing a story thesis for my upcoming retro point-and-click game, Friday Night 1998. Keep watching for more game updates and video essays on some of my favorite pop culture, and until then, be kind, rewind. See ya!